He does look bad.
He's going to be all right. He's got to be. I'm sure those people would go away.
Where are they taking him?
Schroeder.
Looks to me like he ought to be in hospital.
It's the same thing. Don't be silly. And it's the nearest. No, wait! I'll go with you. My father works there.
Hello.
Mrs. Manson, I'm sorry. I've got some bad news for you.
What? Who's this?
It's me, Vicky. I'm ringing from hospital.
Hospital?
It's Mr. Manson. He's had an accident.
What?
He's unconscious. He's just taken an overdose. I found him. Mrs. Manson, are you still there?
Yes.
I'm sorry to give you such an awful shock. Can you come?
Yes, of course. How bad is he?
I'm not sure.
Yes, I'll come straight away. Which hospital is it?
It's the Schroeder Clinic in Pont Street. Can you find it?
Yes. But there's Eve.
Can't you leave her with someone?
No, it's quicker to bring her. Besides, she's been very unsettled since he...
Bring her with you. I'll look after her.
No, I'll ring Gavin. He can take her.
It's all right, it's all right. Now, shall I go along to casualty and see how he's getting on? Do you want to wait in my room? I won't be long. He's going to be all right.
Really?
They're washing him out now. He's going to be fine. Hey. Hey. You did well. You were very quick.
Can I see him, please?
Tomorrow, perhaps.
You're really sure
I'm sure yes. You can go home and rest easy. You've done your bit.
I'm waiting for his wife.
Are you taking charge of the whole family?
No, she's bringing the baby. I'm going to take it to Gavin.
Oh, no, I understand it all.
Oh, no. No, she's very worried. I've got to be here to meet her. After all, it's partly my fault he did it.
How can it possibly be your fault?
Well, telling him about her and Gavin, of course.
You know, you're being very greedy taking on so much responsibility. How do you know that was why he did it, if he did it? Could have been an accident.
I don't think so.
What would you like?
I'm getting them. It was my idea.
What would you like?
Scotch on the rocks.
Hi, can I have 2 scotch on the rocks?
Yes. My name's Mrs. Manson.
Mrs. Manson? He's going to be all right.
You sure?
Yes. Come and meet my father. He'll tell you. This way.
Well, why your father, Vicky?
Because he's a doctor and he works here.
Oh, I see.
Here's to your lovely daughter.
Yeah. She's pretty good, isn't she?
You're lucky. I never really liked babies before.
Well, neither did I. She was Prue's idea. I guess you might say it's the best thing Prue ever did.
I met Prue once. She was very beautiful. We hated each other on sight. What am I saying? She must have told you all that.
Yep, she did.
It's really very odd meeting someone you've heard so much about.
Do I look the part?
I'm not sure.
But aren't I the monster he described? You haven't seen my cloven hoof? I'll show it to you. Oops, sorry, I can't. Odd socks.
I feel better now I've seen Mrs. Manson.
Why did you want to?
To apologize and to tell her it's over.
Really?
Yes, I mean it this time.
What happened? Your husband find out?
Yes. That's not the reason. It just didn't work anymore.
I can't imagine what you saw in him.
Of course you can't. You're biased.
You know, the thing that gets me, he seems to have one set of standards for himself and another set for me and the rest of the world.
You can't help that. Anyway, so have lots of people.
Not me.
Are you sure?
Dad, Mrs. Manson's here. Can you tell her about her husband? Mrs. Manson, this is my father, Dr. Lewis.
He's going to be fine.
Really?
Yes.
Can I see him?
Not yet. Please. They're still tidying him up. I'll check with casualty for you in a moment. Is your granddaughter?
Yes.
I thought you said you were going to take her back to her father.
Well, he isn't in.
Would you like to phone him?
I only just called. I can't think where he's got to. He ought to be home by now.
Or would you like Vicky to take the baby up to your husband's flat? Then you could pick her up when you're ready.
Yes, but
Suggestion.
I haven't a key.
I have.
Oh, how very far-sighted.
It was on his dressing table. I thought it might be useful. For him going home, I mean. I brought his pajamas and a toothbrush as well.
For him staying in?
Yes.
You think of everything.
I was only trying to help.
And you probably got fed up of sleeping on your friend's sofa.
I hadn't thought of that.
Oh, of course not, no. Well, off you go. That's all right with you.
Yes, I think it's a good idea. You don't mind?
Not a bit.
I'm very grateful.
Oh, that's all right. I'll see you later. Shall I keep ringing Gavin for you?
Oh, please, he must be back soon. It's very kind of her.
It's all right, she enjoys being useful.
When can I see my husband?
I'll find out for you, shall I? Because he won't be awake yet.
Did he do it on purpose?
Very hard to say at this stage. It depends on whether or not he expected to be found in time.
I don't see how he could have done.
All the alcohol made it worse. Is he normally a heavy drinker?
No.
Then it could have been an accident.
You don't think so?
My daughter seems to think he's been very depressed lately.
Yes, that's true.
Why'd you come over here in the first place?
I was dodging the draft, you know, the whole Vietnam bit. Didn't see the sense in it.
Why here? Why not Canada or Sweden?
I was keen on an English girl at the time.
Prue?
No, somebody else. She ditched me, then I met Prue.
Don't you want to go home? There's an amnesty now, isn't there?
Nothing to go back to.
No family?
The aunt who brought me up. If we ever meet again, it'll be too soon for both of us.
Is that bad?
Yeah, he was kind of religious. You know, the worst kind of Puritan bigot. I guess I wasn't the easiest kid in the world. She thought I had bad blood, whatever that means.
What happened to your parents?
I never knew my dad. My mom went off with a truck driver when I was 9. I guess she got sick of my aunt telling her she disgraced the family name. I don't blame her. I tried to run off too, but they kept bringing me back.
Who?
Oh, cops, neighbors, do-gooders. A kid on his own is kind of conspicuous. You know, you feel a fool. You start off on the great adventure, the whole Mark Twain bit, and then zap, they catch you.
How'd you get to university?
Worked my way through. I was pretty normal in the States. Get all kinds of jobs, you know. Dug ditches, washed up, drove cabs. It's not difficult if you're not fussy what you do. I just wanted to get out. Do you want another drink?
It's my turn.
I'm old-fashioned.
I don't believe you. I insist.
Yeah, well, I'm old-fashioned but broke. I'll have to give in gracefully.
You can see him now.
Oh, thank you.
You're going to put that thing up first.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hadn't thought.
May I? Not an addict, are you?
Don't think so. Do realize it must be annoying to a non-smoker.
Oh, I'm more than that. I'm an X-40 a day man. I have all the reforming zeal of the convert.
And then what?
And then a job, I guess.
What kind of job?
That's a good question. Well, to satisfy him, it'll have to be something high-powered, like UNESCO or the UN. I can't see him settling for anything less.
To satisfy you?
Well, I've been a student for so long, and it's all theory, right?
Yeah.
I like to get out there and see how people really live, what it's like. You know, how the theories apply to real life.
Get out where?
Anywhere. Well, I used to think Africa, but it's a bit late for that now. I don't see them welcoming a white sociologist at this stage of the game. India? I know South America. We've got to be of some use to someone.
Sounds like you're running away from something.
I sure am. The whole goddamn Manson family. I've had enough. I just want to pick up my kid and run.
Can't you?
Well, that's the point. When you've got a kid, you can't do as you please. What to think of what's best for her? She's a bit young to be dragged around the world. Who's going to look after her when I'm working? I feel guilty enough as it is. She's had a hell of a time over the past few months being passed around and fought over. I guess the best thing I can do is get a teaching job at some tin pot university and hire a nanny. Can you imagine?
Doesn't sound like you.
It isn't. They'll give her a home and a settled life. That's what people tells me she needs. And who am I to argue? I didn't turn out too well with that one, did I?
What really matters is you and her, what you think is best, not what other people say.
Yeah, I know. That's what I think when I'm feeling tough. Sometimes I don't think I have a lot to offer.
At least she's here and you love her.
Yep.
I just had an abortion.
That's tough.
It was my decision.
Of course, but it can't have been easy.
No, it wasn't. And everyone's so angry with me.
Who's everyone?
The two of them.
What did you just say to me? It's what you think that matters.
But I don't know what I think.
Whose was it?
That was the worst part. I wasn't sure.
Is that why you got rid of it?
Yes.
The only reason?
And my husband told me to.
Well, maybe you just didn't want it. It's not a crime, is it?
Some people think it is.
Well, I don't. How's about you?
I feel a bit funny about it. I keep changing my mind.
Would you put the clock back if you could? Well, that's a start.
I shouldn't stay long if I were you, Mrs. Manson. He won't know you're there.
Okey-dokey.
Satisfied?
Yes. Doesn't look too bad.
Oh, he's going to be fine. Well, good night.
Oh, you going off duty now?
No, I wasn't on duty. I'm much too exalted to work nights. I only came along because of Vicky.
And my husband.
Well, it's a package deal.
I'm very grateful to you and Vicky.
I haven't done anything. You're going to sit there all night?
I don't like to leave him.
Well, he isn't going to wake up until tomorrow, and if you don't get any sleep, you'll be useless when he's able to talk.
Yes, I suppose so.
So what are you going to do now?
Oh, collect the baby and go home?
Where's home?
Sorry?
It's a long drive. Would you like to have dinner first? I hate eating alone.
Oh!
They always do that.
Yeah, like buses when they see you running.
Never mind, if it's important, they'll ring back.
Come on in, you don't have to rush home, do you?
No, home's the last place I want to be.
I'll get you a drink. Oh, hell, I remember, I don't have any scotch left.
Yes, you do.
When did you get that?
When you were in the loo.
You beautiful thing, you. I'll go get some glasses and some ice. Don't go away. God knows how many drinks owe you by now. So much for masculine pride, huh?
Oh, you're not going to be boring about it.
No, I'm grateful. I just can't tell you how tired I am of always being broke.
Maybe you need that high-powered job after all.
What a very impressive kitchen.
Is it? I hope so. I do tend to agree with the man who said I don't live in a bedsitter, I sleep in a kitchen.
Thanks.
Take a seat, have a prowl, I don't mind. And I think a cheese souffle might be nice while we're waiting for the lamb.
Can you really be bothered?
Why not? I enjoy food, don't you?
Shall I do something to help?
No.
It's really very kind of you.
I've never been accused of that before. We both need to eat. You're tired, and I enjoy cooking, especially for somebody else.
Dr. Lewis,
Evan.
about my husband. I don't know how much Vicky's told you.
It is rather tricky. Your family and mine are already so interwoven, I feel we're practically related.
It's really rather embarrassing.
Oh, I thought it rather cozy. I'm short in relatives myself.
He must have felt he had nothing left to live for.
And if it was a mistake?
Must have been in a pretty bad way to make a mistake like that.
So either way, it was your fault.
He's well admitted.
What if you're trying to claim complete responsibility? I'm afraid you're a bit late. My daughter's way ahead of you. She's convinced it's at least partly her fault.
How?
I'll put it crudely, because she let the cat to the bag.
She made a mistake, that's all.
Isn't there someone else in your husband's life who might have depressed him?
Yes, he just lost his mistress.
And might that not have had an effect?
Yes, I suppose so.
Anything else?
It all goes back to Prue. He never really got over her death.
Was that your fault?
No. But I didn't love her the way he did.
Two people hardly ever do love in the same way. Each other or anyone else.
It was worse than that. I was very jealous of her, my own child.
Did you wish her dead?
No.
People do, you know.
Well, I didn't.
Oh, even if you hate somebody and they die, it can make you feel that you killed them. Children often feel like that when they lose a parent.
Well, yes, I know all that.
Yes, oh, yes. You've read Teach Yourself Psychology like everybody else, and you don't need my lecture for beginners.
I know you're only trying to help.
It is one of the worst vices there is. It's certainly the most irritating. I keep trying to kill my daughter of it, and I can't kill myself.
I did feel I'd killed her. So many times I wished she'd never been born. Then I might have had a real marriage. Now she's gone, and it's all in ruins anyway.
Would it help if I told you that I killed my mother? She wouldn't let me have a pair of roller skates. Too dangerous, she said. So we argued and we fought. And I kicked her and she hit me. She wouldn't give in. I hate you, I said. You're a rotten spoilsport. I wish you were dead. And she was driving to the station to meet my father. There was another car on the wrong side of the road, a drunk. She was on the bend in the road and she couldn't swerve in time. She never was a very good driver, very careful, but her reflexes were too slow. And the driver, the drunk, got away with a broken leg.
I never thought you were talking about yourself.
Oh, it took me a long time to get over that. So perhaps I shouldn't try and take your guilt away from you. You may need it.
To punish myself, you mean?
Not exactly. It may be to make up for something you feel deprived of. Guilt means responsibility after all, doesn't it? And power. My mother taught me. She was much better at cooking than driving. Sorry. Sick joke. In actual fact, she cooked for a living. That's how my father met her. In the end, it was cheaper to marry her than keep going to the restaurant. You ready for the lamb?
Yes, please.
You pour us some more wine then, please. Actually, I taught Vicky to cook, you know, much against her inclination. So your son-in-law would have been well fed if nothing else.
Well, that'll make a nice change. My daughter couldn't boil the proverbial egg.
Actually, boiling an egg properly is quite difficult.
Yes, I know. You know, it really is ironic. Here I am enjoying a beautiful meal when...
While your husband is in my clinic, slipping off an overdose. Quite, but I do promise you, at this moment, he would not appreciate cheese soufflé or roast lamb. Courgette and potatoes. You're not dieting, I hope?
No.
Good. I can't stand women who diet. And it's usually very thin women, have you noticed?
I haven't thought about it.
My wife always used to diet, constantly. And she was extremely thin. Just this side of anorexia nervosa. Very irritating for a dedicated cook like myself.
Is that why she did it?
You're learning fast.
Where is she now?
Not about to burst in upon us, I can promise you that. She's alive and well and living in Edgware with her second husband. Probably watching television and eating Slimming biscuits. Yes, Skin Derby. I actually made you laugh. It's quite an achievement.
That's unfair. Having a suicidal husband isn't a joke.
Yes, but he's going to live, or had you forgotten?
How long have you been divorced?
7 years. No, nearer 5. We had 2 years of wrangling after we separated.
You sound very cheerful about it.
Is that an accusation? Oh, it was hell at first, as they say. But luckily, we both got over it.
Before all this happened, Peter was talking about divorce. I was very upset.
You're going to go on living with him?
Been married 24 years. I feel such a failure.
And were none of them happy ones?
Yes, quite a few. Most of them, in fact. Moderately happy.
And did you specially want to reach your silver wedding?
I just naturally assumed we would.
I have a theory about marriage. If we valued relationships by their quality rather than their length, I think we'd be better off. For example, now you'd think that being moderately happy for 24 years was quite an achievement. Instead, you're fretting because it isn't going to last forever. In my case, we were very happy for 5 years, tolerably happy for 7 years, and progressively miserable for 3. So you see, just because it's ended doesn't mean to say it's a total failure.
It's a lovely theory.
But you can't accept it.
I'd like to, I really would.
Guilt is more fun.
That was rotten. I really must be going.
Back to Surrey.
Yes.
So that you can get up at the crack of dawn, presumably, and drive all the way back to London to visit your husband.
Yes.
Your mad woman.
I've had a lovely evening and a gorgeous dinner. And you're quite right, of course. It wouldn't have done any good to have sat by the bedside all night. But now, I really must...
Be going. You're frightened of me.
No, of course not. Why should I be?
You're shaking. You're cold.
No.
You're not frightened. You're not cold. So why are you shaking?
Don't know.
Now, that's an interesting medical condition. Do you often shake for no reason?
No.
Then there must be a reason. Now, why did you stay the night, and let's find out what it is.
Have you a spare room?
Mm-hmm. Belongs to my daughter, but that's not what I'm offering you. But of course you know that.
I think you're taking an unfair advantage.
Why? I'm not your doctor. Not even your husband's doctor. So what's unfair about telling you I want to sleep with you? I mean, some people might even think that was a sort of compliment.
Yes, I do.
Or do you find me repulsive?
Not exactly. quietly, no.
Now then, do you want to sleep with me, or don't you? If you want to make love, we will. And if you don't, we won't. It's a very simple choice. Ah, well, now you've hit on the one and only way of making absolutely certain that you get the spare room.
Hi.
Hello, who are you?
You sleep all right?
Must have done. I don't remember getting into bed.
How's your hangover?
What hangover?
All right already.
How's yours?
It's okay if I keep very still. Oh, God, who's that?
The milkman.
Postman. Your creditors. It's all right, just remember you're in England and you're innocent until proved guilty. More or less.
Hello?
Mr. Manson, how are you feeling today?
Much better, I think.
I'm Dr. Lewis, Vicky's father.
Oh, I see.
It was Vicky who found you unconscious yesterday in your flat.
Oh, so it's Vicky I have to thank for being here.
If you feel like thanking her.
Of course I do. If she hadn't found me, I suppose I might have been dead by now.
That's what I mean.
Well, you surely don't imagine I intended to kill myself. And that's ridiculous. It was an accident, that's all. I had a lot to drink and obviously took too many sleeping pills. I realize what a narrow escape I've had.
Mr. Manson, I'm not your doctor. I'm only a partner in this clinic. Might be a good idea for you to have a talk with my colleague, Dr. Schroeder. He's a psychiatrist, and I'm sure you'll find him helpful.
I expect I would if I needed a psychiatrist, but I don't. I'm sure Dr. Schroeder has enough to do seeing people who are really ill without wasting his time on me.
I only just got there in time. Think, if I hadn't have found him, he might have died. And I'm not sure, but I think he did it on purpose.
Why the hell did you have to interfere?
How can you be so callous?
I don't see why not.
I'm sorry, it's not what you think, but I've got to see Peter.
Why?
I'm just a friend, please believe me.
You don't have to explain to me. I can't.
I'm sorry.
It doesn't matter, it's over. Anyway, she'd believe anything. She's in that kind of mood.
I suppose I should have stayed in there till she'd gone.
Well, why the hell should you hide?
I felt so trapped and I was worried. I must go and see him.
It doesn't matter, really.
Perhaps they'll make it up now, him and his wife.
Then I'm gonna emigrate. He's not getting his hands on Eve again.
I must go.
Hey! Don't just disappear, will you?
I'll be back, I'll ring you. I haven't got so many friends I can afford to lose a new one. Besides, never mind you, I want to see her again.
Really, Cass, why all the fuss? It was an accident, that's all. Everyone's going on as if I committed a crime.
I was very worried about you.
Now you're angry.
No!
You sound very angry.
Well, you know how it is. When the kids are late home, you're so relieved to see them, you want to knock the living daylights out of them.
I'm not a child.
No! But it's the same feeling.
If everyone would stop pretending I'd try to kill myself, perhaps we can get on to what really matters. How soon I can get out of it. I'm not ill and it must be costing a fortune. It's private, isn't it?
Yes?
Well, why aren't I in an ordinary hospital like everyone else?
Because Vicky found you and this is her father's clinic.
Why couldn't she send me somewhere normal?
Well, I suppose she has confidence in her father.
He's already been in trying to make me see a psychiatrist. Cass, can't you put a stop to all that nonsense? I'm perfectly all right.
Peter. Did you mean to do it honestly?
Oh, of course I didn't. I've told you.
Because if you did, I'll never forgive myself.
No, for heaven's sake, why should I try to kill myself?
Well, things have been pretty bad for you recently, and you're not a person who gets drunk and takes pills just like that.
Cass, will you do something for me?
Yes, anything.
Help me to get out of here. I don't like it. I don't like it. We can't afford it. I don't want to see any damn psychiatrist. I made a mistake. I want to go home and sleep it off. I'm tired.
Would you like to come back with me? I could look after you. I'd be very unobtrusive.
I'm very sorry. I didn't mean that. I want to go back to the flat, to be on my own.
Well, you may want to, but it can't be good for you. Not after a thing like this. Not so soon.
I would be pleased if everyone would leave me in peace. I know you mean well, but I'm never alone. If it's not you, it's doctors, nurses. It never stops. This place is like a railway station. I give anything to be by myself. Is that really too much to ask?
In your present state, yes, it probably is.
But I want to think about everything, quietly. How can I do that if people keep popping in, staring at me, asking silly questions? It's like being in a zoo.
We're all trying to help.
I know, and it's driving me mad.
The only thing that makes me almost believe it was an accident...
Oh, Cass, not again.
I mean, if you'd meant to do something like that, you'd have written me a letter, wouldn't you? I mean, you wouldn't have just gone, not told me.
But you'd actually want... You want to know if it wasn't an accident?
Of course. I'd have wanted to know the truth. I'd have needed that.
I don't think I would. I don't find the truth very helpful anymore. Cassie, you've got to help me to get out of here.
Well, if you won't come with me, would you consider having a nurse?
Oh, look, I'm not sure we can't afford a nurse.
We can. If it would help, we can afford anything. Or would you rather be with Sarah? I don't mind.
No, I don't want to be with Sarah.
But you need someone. Peter, tell me what happened.
I got very depressed, that's all. I knew we were finished because of him. It was all over with Sarah because of what she did.
What did she do?
I thought Eve was my last hope. Then Vicky took it away back to you.
I'm sorry, but she had to.
Well, of course, I realize that now, but I didn't know what I thought I could do with Eve. I couldn't even look after her properly. But at the time, I wasn't quite rational, I suppose. And after it all left, I felt very lonely.
But that's what I mean. That's why you shouldn't be alone now.
I started drinking. I drank quite a lot. I thought it would help, but it didn't. I couldn't sleep, so I took some pills. They didn't work, so I took some more. I was pretty drunk, and I forgot how many I'd taken. That's all there is to it, Cass, really.
It's all about Prue, really, isn't it? I mean, all these other problems with me and Sarah and Eve, they're just extra. Do you think of David and Andrew at all? They love you very much, and they need you.
When you're really depressed, you don't think about things like that. It wouldn't help very much if you did. Besides, they're better off without me if I'm going to be like this.
What?
I mean, they don't need a depressive father. I'd rather they didn't see me while I'm in this state.
You frightened me.
Yes? Well, privately would be better, of course. You'd have more time. It depends on what you can afford. Well, look, let her think about it, then she can phone up here and ask to see Dr. Schroeder when she's made up her mind. Fine. Right there. Siŵr hwyl heddi? Oh, it's like that, is it? Did you deliver the baby?
Can I see Mr. Manson, please?
I don't think now would be a good moment. I believe his wife's with him.
You're really sure he's going to be...
He's already bleating about going home.
Vicky,
Vicky told me. How is he?
All right, I think.
I'm only visiting. I haven't gone back on anything I said.
It's all right. You don't have to be defensive with me. Of course you want to see him.
It was such a shock. How is he really?
Rather belligerent. All he wants is to get out of here.
It's not like him to have an accident.
No. There is something you could do for me. He might listen to you. Try and persuade him to see the psychiatrist.
I thought you kept them in when they tried to kill themselves.
We don't know for certain that he did.
But I thought they had to talk to Jim and have tests and all kinds of things to make sure.
True. But only if they're willing. I'm afraid medicine is still hampered by this being nominally, at least, a free country. Darling, would you do me a great favor? I've got so many patients this morning, and there's an auction at Christie's. Are you very busy at college?
No, it's nearly the end of term.
Well, that's marvellous. Would you go along a bit for me?
At Christie's?
Well, I didn't mean college, and there's some clarity I especially want.
But I won't know what to do.
Rubbish. You've been there often enough with me. Now, I've marked the lots I'm interested in with my limits. Get as much as you can, but don't go over £150. I'll give you a blank cheque. And if you spend it on a dress, I shall kill you.
£150 on claret.
Well, it's one more life, more or less. You can't be concerned about that, surely. If you can kill your baby, why can't I kill myself if I feel like it? What's the difference? Just something I wanted being got rid of, that's all. Perfectly normal these days.
You know there's a difference, a big one.
I don't want to discuss it with you.
Peter, will you discuss it with someone else?
I hope you're not going to talk any nonsense about psychiatrists.
It couldn't do any harm and it might help.
Why? I'm not mad, just inefficient.
Wouldn't it help to talk to someone impartial? We're all too much involved.
Really? I hadn't noticed.
That's not fair.
Judging from the way you behave, I doubt if you've ever been involved with anyone except yourself.
If you mean I couldn't have a baby just to please you, no. It's too important for that.
So important you had to get rid of it instead. Yes, I see that.
I had to do what I thought was best.
Best for yourself.
Best for everyone.
And look, why can't you admit it? Why can't you be honest? It was inconvenient, so you killed it.
It's my body. I've got a right to choose what happens to it.
And so have I.
We shouldn't be quarrelling again, especially not today. I meant to be helpful, but I've only made it worse. Peter? Shall I come back later? Or tomorrow when you've rested?
I don't think I want to see you again.
Not ever?
I don't think we've got anything left to say to each other.
Well, I can't stop him discharging himself if he wants to, unless we commit him under Section 30. If I think he's a danger to himself, then I can apply for a 3-day committal.
I think you should.
Well, it might help. Get him over a bad patch. On the other hand, it might make no difference at all. Or even make him worse.
I'm sure he meant to do it. He more or less admitted it to me.
But when I spoke to him, he was so certain it was an accident.
Don't believe him. Perhaps he wants me to feel guilty instead of you. He is in a very aggressive mood.
I don't need a psychiatrist.
Mrs. Roberts says you told her you meant to kill yourself.
I can only assume Mrs. Roberts likes to imagine I wanted to die because she left me. Perhaps it makes her feel important. Maybe you ought to have a talk with her. Look, since you're here, do you think you could arrange to have my clothes brought in?
I think it's a bit too soon for that.
This is a private clinic.
Yes.
You can't hold me against my will.
No, but I feel we should wait till you're ready to talk. You feel a bit stronger.
Well, you can wait as long as you like, but I'm going home and I'd rather go home fully dressed.
If you discharge yourself, it's against medical advice.
Yes, well, I don't think that's too serious.
You certainly need a few more days in bed. Who'll look after you?
Damn it, I don't want anybody to look after me. I want to be by myself. There's nobody I want to be with.
Well, here we are. How are you feeling? I'll make some tea, shall I? Or would you rather have coffee?
I don't want anything, thank you.
I think you ought to have something. How about some hot milk? I know it tastes awful, but it would do you good.
No, I couldn't really.
Not even if I put a dash of whiskey in it?
Oh, for God's sake, because I got drunk once, I'm not an alcoholic.
No, I know that. I didn't mean... I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm very tired.
Yes, of course.
I think I'd go and lie down.
Yes. Oh, Could you tell me what you'd like for supper?
Supper?
Yes, then I can get it before the shop's shut.
Oh, you needn't go to all that trouble. I'm not hungry.
No, but you ought to eat all the same. Besides, I'm starving.
You're very kind, very sweet, and I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I really do want to be alone.
Yes, I know that, but you oughtn't to be, not just yet. Besides, I promised Jim and Dad I'd look after you. I'm very good at looking after people, even when they don't really want me to.
I'm sure you are.
You know, I wish you'd talk to Jim. He's really very nice once you get used to him. Well, never mind. Perhaps you will later. Now then, how about a nice omelette?
That's quite a messy performance.
Yeah. She's reached a stage where she thinks it's fun to spit it out and start over. How was he?
Very angry. They're letting him out, but I don't think they should.
Well, he can't stay in there forever.
It's too soon, but there's nothing I can do.
Can I fix you a drink?
God forbid, I'm on the wagon. At least till tomorrow. You're going to take her back to Mrs. Manson?
I don't know. It's a bit tricky now that he's sick. She may be all tied up with visiting. I know, he may even move back in.
How will you manage? You have to get out to libraries, don't you?
Oh, I'll get a babysitter.
How about me? I could. I'd like to.
What would your husband say?
Oh, that's my problem.
That'd be great. When could you come?
Say between 10 and 4?
That'd be great help. What day?
Monday to Friday.
You mean every day?
That was the idea.
That's fantastic. You must be crazy.
I've got nothing to do. I think I'll enjoy it.
Mrs. Manson.
Yes?
Oh, okay.
Oh, thank you.
Hello, you.
I've just had the most wonderful surprise. You're very extravagant.
Well, I always try to do things in style. Or hadn't you noticed?
I noticed.
So when are you going to cook for me?